So you got the standard like open beer bar, and the open beer bar is just sit down, have a beer. You might have a chat with a girl in the concrete square. She'll sit the other side, or someone might come and sit with you. But it's just more of a beer drinking session, and meet your mates, etc. Set yourself up ready to go out for the evening. You've now got the go-go bars. Go-go bars are a completely different setup. They're behind closed doors. A lot of girls dancing on the poles, etc. There's a lot of variance in terms as to how much clothing they wear. There's a lot of variance available there. So again, depending on the place will depend on what you're going to expect. Nowadays is more of a gentleman's club scene than there ever was. Now there's a lot more gents clubs than what they used to be back in the day. But then there's a lot less go-go bars here now than what they used to be. So it's kind of like that natural transition. But a gents club is good fun. That's a much more laid back, more relaxed. Go-go bars, they often get a bad name because of the pricing, because it's so expensive. But you also have to understand that it's not just the go-go bar. The landlords are demanding incredible rent. I know places down there, their rent's $500,000 to $1 million a month.
Wow.
And that's just their rent. So if you're selling a bottle of beer, say a San Miguel Light cost price about 40 baht. So they sell it at 200 baht, let's just say. There's 160 baht, and you got to make $1 million baht to get your profit. $1 million baht profit to pay your rent.
So that's around £23,000. Yeah.
And then they got the cost of all their service staff, the security, the police, the bar staff, the girls themselves. They're all on salaries. They all get paid. So it's a massive overhead. It's a huge amount. So yes, the demands are high and the expectations are high when you go in, but of course the prices go with it. It's quite an expensive situation. Soi 6 has changed a lot. When I first came to Soi 6, it was all behind closed doors, and what goes on behind the doors stays behind the doors. Now it's all open beer bars, and it's lost. I don't want to say it like this because I don't want to put people off going. You need to go because it's an experience. Me personally now, as a person that's lived here for 11 years, it's not my cup of tea. There's a lot of younger women, which I don't really gel with. I like to be able to hold a conversation more than hello, what's your name? And also it's quite mechanical. Buy me a drink. Do you know?
Not much care.
Yeah, it's buy me a drink. You see up there. You want to go? Like, really? I've just, can I have another drink first or whatever. So it's not really for me. But it's still a good fun. It's still, if you haven't been, you've got to go. Just to say that you've done it. Same as Walking Street. If you haven't been to Walking Street, you've got to go just to say that you've done it. Because if you come out here and you go back home and say, oh, what was Soi 6 like? I didn't go. Liar. They're not going to believe you anyway. So just do it. You might as well just do it because you're going to get accused of being down there anyway, even if you don't go. But yeah, Soi 6 has changed. Soi 7 and 8, Nick, he's a good friend of mine. He's got some nice bars down there. You got Shooter's Bar across the road there. Is another good friend. There's some good bars. There are some good bars, but a lot of it's changing nowadays. The city's not like it used to be. And I'm only a newbie. This guy's been coming here 30, 40 years. They've forgotten more than I know.
Yes. Can you share with us a little bit about, say, if someone's on the way here or planning to come to Thailand and they have no idea of like the pricing if they want to spend time with a female or ladyboy?
Well, so you're going to have a few situations. So the first thing you're going to have is if you want to, you got to be very careful. So like, okay, people kind of get the understanding. They think that if you walk into a bar and I buy you a drink, you are obligated to come out with me. It's not like that. So number one is make sure you got some familiarity with the person. Make sure you got a connection. Are they touchy-feely? Are they playful? Are they? Because if you just sat there like this and drinking a drink, yeah, you don't want to be going anywhere because it's going to be a terrible experience because she's not interested. So if you do find there's a connection and the girl's smiling at you and you come down, want a drink, and she'll sit with you, puts her hand on your leg, plays around, has a bit of fun with you, you think, oh, okay, this is good fun. So if you've made now the decision that you want to take things further, number one, you have to compensate the bar, be it with a bar fine. And depending on where you are, bar fines range from 300 up to 2,000 baht. I mean, the 2,000 baht is in the Walking Street. Some are even more. Some are 2,500 baht. But again, it goes back to their expenses.
And the time of the day as well, isn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah. So if you go in at 8 o'clock in the night when the bar's just open, the last thing the bar owner wants is half his girls disappearing because they've been bar fined. So the bar fines are much, much more expensive. Come midnight, 1 o'clock, it doesn't matter. Then you've had the majority of your day or your prime time earnings. So now you can lower the bar fines. So you're gonna have the bar fine, and then you got to negotiate with the girl, and you gotta look at it a different way. Like, so if a girl says to you, yeah, it's 5,000 baht, you're going, about sweet cheeks. I don't want to buy you for a week. I'd like to spend some time with you for a few hours, not a week. What she's actually saying, she's pricing you out. She's giving you an indication she doesn't want to go, because otherwise she ain't going to pay. She ain't going to charge that much. So you've got to take the warning signs. If a girl says, like, yes, it's 5,000 baht, you're like, okay, I'll save you the problem, because number one, you don't really want to spend any more time, which is fine. I understand that. It's no drama. But what she's saying to you is, if you do pay it, she doesn't really want to do it, so she's going to do it for the money. And therefore the experience is going to be crap. Whereas if you find someone that's really interactive and you have a great time, you'll have a fantastic time, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. But if you ignore the warning signs, when a girl gives you a really stupid high price, that's a big red light going, hello, this is not what I want, but if you're going to do it, you're going to pay me.
Yes. What's the general pricing for short time?
Wouldn't know.
No.
I don't do it. I wouldn't know. I'd say probably 1,500 to 2,000 baht, I guess.
Maybe minimum 1,000 baht.
Oh yeah, you won't get less than that. I say that though, but if you go to some of the, like if you go around the Bangkok area, stuff like that, you'll get other stuff that will make you come out happy for like 500 baht.
Yes.
But you're not going to be.
And that's some of the massage places as well.
A lot of the massage places, yeah. Yeah.
But in my experience, most of them are not.
It depends where you go. So like if you go down, say, Soi Honey, then you'll be lucky to get a massage. You'll go in the massage place, be lucky to get an actual massage. If you go along Second Road, there's a few there that will partake. Soi Buakhao, there's quite a few there that will happily, you'll come out with a smile. But if you want a proper massage, then realistically speaking, you need to go to like some of the beach road places like that, where it's not going to happen, or very unlikely.
My favourite one's by Soi Buakhao.
Which one? Where?
It's, you come out the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Turn left. Yeah. The first one on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, they always put in a great level of effort, and they're respectful, lovely ladies there. Yeah,
I mean, for me, like the best massage place here by a mile is the Blind Massage School.
Oh, okay.
Which is on North Pattaya Road. Because they're blind, they do it by feel, so they can feel your body and they can understand where you're not so, and all the things. They're really good. Hurts, but it's really good. You come out feeling like you've done 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, but about 2 hours later you think, oh, I feel really good. So yeah, the blind school massage, very good.
And then let's dive in to, like, say, if someone wants to spend a week or a month with a lady.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
At all.
This place here is where dreams come true and hearts get broken. Because, and again, this is a very common conversation that you can have with people. People say, oh, you're a dirty old man because you come out here. So what do you want that guy to do? Do you want him just to please you by sitting in his pub on his own, reading his paper, waiting to die? Why is he not allowed to come out here and enjoy himself? Who gives anybody the right to dictate what an older man must do in their own country in order to not be bagged with this, oh, you're a sleazy pervert, blah, blah, blah. So for me, I think to myself, well, okay, I don't want to sit at the end of the bar with my newspaper, waiting to do the Sunday meat draw, waiting to die. I don't want to do that. I want to live my life. I've got a little bit of time left. Most people at that age have got money, so I've got money available. I'm going to come and live my life. Why should I just do what you want me to do just to please you and stop you judging me? However, by having the balls to come out here and to come and experience this and change what's considered your life, because you're now no longer sat at the end of the bar waiting to die.
Programmed.
Yeah. The problem you have then is that all of a sudden you got the attention from a woman that's half your age or less. And you're like, Jesus, what's going on here? And, listen, no, it doesn't matter what age you are. You could be a young kid, you could be an old man. Everybody has a heart. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to feel loved. We all want to feel loved. When those girls that you come out here for give you that feeling, it's so, so easy. And I've seen it happen many, many times. It's so, so easy to be swept away and get caught into this wave of emotions where you think, I found the one. I found the one. And the reality is 99.5 of those ones are not. They're just there for the ride. They're there for the money. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye. So if you start, we call it the 3-day rule out here. If you start spending more than 3 days with the same person, whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not, you will start to have feelings because you're spending time with them. You're getting to know them. You're getting to know how they operate, what they think, their laughter, their sadness, all the things that make you understand how they work. And they're doing the same to you. They're figuring you out. So now you've got emotions. Now you're in a whole world of trouble now, because it's that whole, what do I do now? I've got to go back home. If I go home, what's she going to do? I don't want to go with it. If I send you some money, will you leave the bar? Yes, darling. Of course I will. Of course I will. And you're thinking, brilliant. She's going to save herself just for me. And it doesn't happen. And of course, I've seen guys here. I won't go into detail because it's not fair, but I've got a particularly good friend of mine, and he was in a relationship with a girl that he met in a go-go bar that I used to work in as a photographer. And he did exactly what you said. He went over to Koh Larn for 3 nights, then over to Koh Samet for a week. Then he came back and he tried to tell me that she was different. And I'm like, dude, she's not different. Mate, Trevor said, you don't know. He said, she's absolutely amazing. I said, no, she's just fulfilling your fantasy and your dream. I said, because you want to be loved. Anyway, long story short, he paid for her to leave the bar, to go back home, study university. And I was working as a photographer, and I went back into the said bar, and she was sat there with a said customer. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did all the photography, and then at the end I walked up and said, how you doing? Hello. I said, it's funny university. I said, this kind of reminds me of like the go-go bar that we're in. So I thought you'd do. No. I come down to see my friend. What, this gentleman here? I said, you're a friend, are you? And he was kind of looking at me like, say, what's he got to do? I said, sorry. I said, look, she's meant to be with one of my friends. I said, so do you know her name? Didn't know her name. Oh, you're friends, are you? I said, what's his name? Oh, you don't know. So let's cut the ball. Let's get to the point. You're doing what you said you wouldn't do, and you're doing it. So anyway, so I contacted my friend, and I said, look, mate, you're not going to like me for this. I said, but I want to be able to look you in the eye and say, I told you. I said, but listen, this is what I've just experienced. Completely went off the rocks at me. You're sticking your nose in. You're trying to cause me trouble. You just don't want me to be happy. And I'm like, dude, like, you're so wrong. This is just, I'm trying to show you what she's doing. She's not, no, that was her friend. I said, she didn't even know his name. How can that be a friend? Anyway, we didn't speak for about a year, more than a year, actually, about a year and a half. And suddenly I got a message from him. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that such and such is pregnant. I'm like, really? I said, bloody hell, mate. I said, fair play. I'm like, congratulations. It's not mine. Oh, not your baby. Okay. He said, I'm sorry, Joe. He said, but you were right all along. He said, and it's not my baby. He said, I'm really sorry for... I said, listen, Lee, don't apologise. Don't apologise. Because if I was in your shoes, I'd have reacted the same way. Because you're trying to break my dream. I said, but the truth is you were just trying to look out for me. I said, but you don't need to apologise. Emotions run high. We all think of things when emotions are running high. We don't think about when we're just being logical. And she was just playing him. She just played him like a pack of cards. But, he learned his lesson.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Trev.
That's all right, no problem.
Appreciate it. Do you have any other memorable stories revolving around Pattaya and Thailand?
Memorable stories? Depends what you're calling memorable stories. I mean, when you're involved in the nightlife here, as I am,
it's non-stop.
You just see so many things that, nowadays it just becomes normal. Whereas in the past you think, wow, really, and I see guys all the time, but now I'm more, when I first came out, I was a judgmental idiot. Oh God, look at that guy over there. What's he doing? Oh, look at this girl. I was such an idiot because I was Londoned. I had London in me. Programmed. Yeah, and in London, it's like how big's your house, how much money do you earn, how fast your car, what clothes are you wearing any brands are you wearing? I mean, look at me now. I mean, AC/DC shirt on and a pair of jeans, a pair of shorts. I don't care. I couldn't. You could be sat there in a spandex swimsuit. I really wouldn't care. Yeah. I might think it's a bit of a strange interview technique, but I wouldn't care. Yeah. When I first came out here, I was awful. I was so conditioned to judge people, whereas now it just doesn't bother me. I really don't care. As long as you're happy, as long as you're enjoying yourself, I don't care. So these memorable stories, and when I see people doing things and things that happen, to me now it's just normal. Yeah.
Well, that one that you just previously said, that ties everything up. That says it all, to be mindful of where you're putting your effort, time and money into people.
I think with when you come out, the one thing to really just keep on the back burner is don't believe all you see. If you see a beautiful woman and she's paying you attention, okay, but don't think it's more than what it maybe possibly is, because you can easily get wrapped up and sucked in and spat out in pieces. And I've seen guys over the years, lose houses. I lost a house to my first girlfriend because I was exactly that.
Did you?
Yeah. When I came out here, as I said earlier, I had 2 years of crap back in the UK. I was really unhappy, and I came out, and I met a bar girl. She was working in a gents club, she was working in a gents club in Pratamac, which is now gone now, and I fell in love with her. I broke the 3-day rule, broke the 3-week rule, 3-month rule. I fell in love with her. I was absolutely besotted with her because I'd had a really horrible time previously. I came out here, money wasn't an issue, and I was 42. She was 26, I think. Yeah, Denmore would have been, she was 26, 25. Anyway, and I fell in love with her, absolutely besotted with her because she paid me attention. She was affectionate. She was all the things I hadn't had for a long time.
It's like a shock to your system.
It was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
It was just mind blowing because, you're not used to it. And to be fair, the women back in the UK, I'm sorry, but, what can I say? They bleep when they walk backwards, beep, warning, wide load reversing, all that kind of stuff. But I'm no Brad Pitt, so don't worry. I know the routine. But the thing was, this girl was stunning, and then of course I fell in love with her. We went up. She was family up in Somdet, which is up in Gallison, up in the north, and I built a house and restaurants and all the rest of it. And then she lied to me that she had cancer, and I'd lost a very good friend of mine at the time, who was John. He was 50 years old, died of cancer. It was so many years too early. And then she played that card on me, and I was mortified because I thought, God, no, I've just lost John. I can't lose you as well. God, I can't be doing this, because she just changed. She was really, really being horrible to me, and I couldn't understand why. And then she played the cancer card, and so I took her to all the hospitals. But at that time, I couldn't speak a word of Thai. I didn't understand anything. So I'm like, they're just talking gibberish to me. And all I do kept was paying for this treatment, and thinking that I was, doing the right thing. And it was all bull. It was all rubbish. Yeah. And she actually ended up, she was kidnapped. She was gambling, and they kidnapped her and took her up into the mountain on the edge of Somdet. And I got a phone call saying, unless I paid 100,000 baht, they were going to kill her. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is different. So I went up there, I gave them the money. And she'd been beaten about a little bit, not too much, but beaten about a little bit. And I took her away, and then we just never recovered from that because she was gambling, And unfortunately, there's a lot of problems with gambling out here. A lot of the villages, up north, they'll go and get a blanket and a pack of cards, and they'll go in the middle of nowhere and play and gamble their money away, and they don't have much money, so then they end up borrowing money from the loan sharks. So you borrow 1,000 baht, you're going to pay 100 baht a day until you pay the 1,000 baht back. So, you're talking massive interest. And she didn't pay them back, and I just bailed her out. And then, of course, we split up. I lost the house, the car, the restaurant, everything. But you know what? It was just materialistic bullshit to me. I wasn't interested. I wanted my life back and some peace and tranquility in my life, not all this drama. So, so I took my 2 dogs. I've still got to this day. And I've got my 2 dogs, which are with my wife up in Karat. And I walked away.
Hard-earned wisdom there.
Yeah, I love my dogs more than her.
Interesting.
But it's it's easy for people on the outside to look in and say, oh, you're an idiot, you're this. But when you're in the throw of it all and you're not emotionally involved, it's very easy to cast your judgment. But when you're the one that's being manipulated and being played like a pack of cards, it's not as obvious, it's not as easy.